need to care about what happened in Benghazi because everything you were told that happened in Benghazi is a lie. You were told that we didn't have anybody there. You were told that nobody said anything to step down, or to stand down. You were told that it was a complete surprise. All these things. Total lie. You were told that it was all about spontaneous and it was just about a video. Total lie. Now the truth is coming out. And we have Mark Geist and John Tiegen.
They were there.
They were there. Mm. And they're going to speak out at the top of next hour. You don't want to miss.
They were told to stand down 3 times?
Mm-hmm.
But they'll tell us more coming up.
It's quite an amazing story. Quite an amazing story. You don't want to miss it. Also, we want to spend a few minutes with 2 guys that may change your point of view on Benghazi. If you happen to believe that we didn't have the resources, we didn't have any planes, we didn't have any way to save the ambassador, that this was just a spontaneous event, that no one was told to stand down, you need to listen to the next few minutes. We have Mark Oz Geist and John Tiegen. Oz and Teague is what they're known to each other and their fellow commandos, if you will. They were there in Benghazi. Mark is the oldest member of the team. He spent a dozen years in the Marine Corps, including work in intelligence. Then he became a police chief in Colorado, where he grew up. He ran a private investigation company. In 2004, became a security contractor for the State Department in Iraq. John, 36, former Marine, also from Colorado, spent several years as a security contractor for Blackwater, worked for the company in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iraq before going to work at the CIA's Global Response staff. And they were both there during Benghazi. Welcome to the program, guys.
Hey, this is Mark, or Oz. Thanks, Glenn. Great to be here.
Great. I guess John hasn't joined us yet, but I guess he'll be joining us. So, Mark, first of all, your story is covered in the book 13 Hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi. It was written by Mitch Zukhoff. He is a professor of journalism at Boston University, 6-time best-selling author. He's not a nobody, and he's not a conservative hack. Tell me why we should read this book.
This is a story of what happened on the ground. What happened, it's the part that's not been told yet. The story about what should have been done beforehand's been told, and the story about what's all of the talking points and all that has been told. But the viewpoint of us that were on the ground on what we dealt with and what we had to do to save the lives of the State Department guys and of the 25 other personnel over at the annex hasn't been told yet.
So tell us what happened.
And real quick, Glenn, John is on the line with us now.
Oh, John, hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Good. Thank you for joining.
Yep.
All right. So tell us what happened.
I was out working, doing another mission that night, and with a case officer when I got the call to come back to the annex. Tyrone Woods, or Roan, as we call him, gave me that phone call, and he just said, get back to the annex and don't go by the consulate. There's something going on over there. And it was over an open line, so we didn't want to discuss too much.
Right.
Tig was back where Roan was, and he can probably tell you best what happened, or at least started out with, over at that area.
John?
Yeah, the first initial call came over from the TL. It was just kind of like, hey, everybody come over to the team room. It was just like a normal midnight meeting kind of thing, and then about 30 seconds later, he came over more urgent, and that's when we found out that the U.S. consulate was under attack.
So they say that we had no resources there, we had no way to help, and of course no one was ever told to stand down.
Well, myself personally got told to stand down and wait, and Tonto got told twice, so 3 times we got told to, I got told to stand down, and twice we got told to wait. So,
could you have saved anybody?
I strongly believe that if we'd have left within that 5 minutes that we got ready, that Sean and the ambassador would still be alive because they died of smoke inhalation, not from a gunshot wound or anything else. So, I mean,
why
breathing in smoke, so they couldn't get out.
Some of you guys went and died there. You didn't listen to the stand down order. Tell me about that.
No, we left on our own.
Tell me about that decision.
Yeah, it wasn't very hard. I kind of wish we would have left a little bit sooner instead of waiting the 3 times. Should have just waited the 1 time and just left. I mean, it was something that had to be done.
You know, I kind of put it this way, Glenn, is that you have 6 highly trained, very experienced operators that not only trained in getting in a gunfight or getting out of a gunfight, but in observation and information gathering, and you want to keep them from going over and at least getting eyes on and depend upon the local nationals to tell you your intelligence.
Let me go through a couple of things that I said within 4 days of this happening, and you tell me where I'm right or where I'm wrong. I said there's no way you had to check for where planes were. You have rapid teams, rapid response teams. You have them in Italy. You have them on aircraft carriers. There was no looking for those teams. You know exactly where they were, and you could have had a team, even if it was, and excuse the non-technical language. I don't even know if this is right, but you could have had them strafe the area, just fly a jet at supersonic speed and freaked everybody on the ground out at a bare minimum. Is that true or false?
I would agree with that.
I would agree with it too.
You know, not within, a year before that, the Libyan militias that helped overthrow Gaddafi were very well aware of the reason they were able to do that, and that was because of the air power and the air support that was given by the U.S. and the other countries that were involved, but primarily the U.S. So they understand the capability. So a plane coming over probably would have had a great effect on their ability or their desire to continue operating.
And we had drones in the area, so we knew what was going on. We could see this in real time.
Yes.
The next thing I said within a few days of this was, my guess is we were either running guns into Syria through Turkey, or the ambassador was trying to pull back all of the guns that we had let fall into the wrong hands during the takeover of Libya. Are either of those accurate?
I never saw any signs of any kind of gun trafficking, I guess you want to call it. So I wouldn't have no idea.
What was What was his mission over there?
That's State Department. We have no idea. The only thing I really knew what his big thing was going down there was to open up the English school he was going to do the ribbon cutting for.
For September 11th, was that not odd? Did you guys not think that was a little odd?
Well, and I think a lot of that, because both of us had been overseas probably. This was probably I know for me it was my 8th or 9th 9/11 overseas in one country or another. So I'm not sure that it was really that big of an issue in that, because the guy that he was opening the school is one that had rescued a pilot that was shot down, a U.S. pilot that was shot down during the overthrow of Gaddafi. And so I know he wanted to reach out and do something favorable for him. And as Tig said, as to anything with guns or anything like that, that's not what we were there for. We wouldn't be privy to necessarily to that information. And the biggest thing is, and that's the thing with the book is about what happened during those 13 hours.
13 hours that were going on, and we were being told this was YouTube violence. True or false?
For us, I didn't know about the video until like a day later. So, and myself and Roan, we had just drove by the concert like maybe a half hour before they got hit.
With what you saw, was this just a group of guys, as Hillary Clinton said, that just decided to go out and just, have some fun?
No, it was very well coordinated. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because I was out in town, just like Tig and Roan were and there was nothing in any of the parts of town that I was driving around in that night that would indicate anything that there was going to be a protest. And you can usually kind of get the feel for the community that you're driving through, whether or not something like that, if, the tension in the air, the people on the ground starting to mill about. And there was no indication of anything like that.
Nobody has taken responsibility for this at all. In fact, anytime you ask for somebody to take responsibility, they go hostile. Who should be taking responsibility for the death of the ambassador and those who died?
Well, the main ones that are responsible are the ones that actually attacked us. That's solely their fault.
Did we do everything we could?
The ones that were on the ground that night did.
Those who are in command?
No, those that did the fighting, they did everything.
No. But what I'm asking, okay, I know you guys. I know what you guys did on the ground. What about those in command?
I think they did what they thought was correct. And I caveat that saying that, again, you have 6 highly skilled operators that bring together. We have almost 100 years of experience in military, law enforcement, combat zones, and that's an asset that I would that's an asset that I would take advantage of if I had that as a resource.
Why do you think they didn't take advantage of that resource, of you guys? Why would you have been told? Do you have any thoughts on that? Why would you have been told to stand down or to wait when the situation was so obviously dire?
I think they wanted to possibly utilize the other assets that they had, or they believed they had.
Which
with
were
the
what?
17th February militia. Put the lower profile of our presence there.
They didn't want everybody to know how many people we had there?
And I can't speak for them, but I would think that would be a prudent thing to think about. In a normal setting.
Tell me what it was like while they were in the Oval or the Situation Room, and this was going on for 13 hours, and you guys were on the ground. Tell me what the heat of the battle was like. Tell me what happened.
You want to take that, John?
No, go ahead.
It's controlled chaos on our part. It's several times. We had gotten, after the guys got back from the consulate and rescued the State Department personnel and got back over to the annex, you knew there was something going to happen. You could hear cars screeching coming in towards our area, and we were ready for whatever they were going to bring. And through the night vision goggles, you would see movement off in the distance through what we called zombie land. You'll see that in the book, and we mentioned that several times. And that's where they came from, is what they believed it gave them the most maneuverability and the most their best avenue of approach. And I can't give you numbers on how many came up, but there were several that were coming up when they launched a RPG over top. Well, somebody didn't fire it directly, and they missed the compound. It fired over top of our compound, and that is what started their first assault on the annex. They were just moving up on us, and we waited till they got as close as we felt comfortable, and then we opened up on them. And it was kind of off and on like that. Some periods of where it was not as intense to where it got really intense there at the very end.
How many guys were on the ground doing this?
How many of us?
Of us.
Well, there was 6 of us operators.
And how many of them?
I would be guessing at best. I've heard anywhere between 100 and 300, but I could not give
any idea how many what the body count was at the end.
No, I've only heard guesses on and assumptions on what that would be. I can speak to probably 8 or 10 of them that I know that I shot.
Guys, I will tell you that I am. I think this is one of the most shameful things I think I've seen our country do. I think we left we left people in the field. We didn't watch their back. We had the ability to help. We left men behind. And then we blamed it on somebody else and something else. And I find this personally repulsive and one of the worst things our country has done to our people in the field. And I think it also set a horrible precedence. But I will tell you that I am heartened by your actions on the ground. I think we lost some real heroes, and I'm sorry that it worked out this way, but I'm glad you're telling the story. And I thank you for your service to our nation.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us tell it.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the important thing is, to us, the important thing is telling the story of the 13 hours that we were there to honor Glenn and Ty, or Bub and Roan as we call them, for their service and their sacrifice.
Mark Geist and John Tiegen. The name of the book is 13 Hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi. Thank you so much, guys. God bless.
Thank you.
You bet. So you know, this was written by a professor of journalism at Boston University. So he's not exactly a conservative hack. But you want to really know what happened. 13 Hours, available in bookstores everywhere.